What's up, Space Pirates? This is your captain, the Dread Pirate Dr. Disaster. And after the colossal failure that took place with Concord, a game so clearly bad that it should have been obvious it was a bad project long before Sony bought Firewalk Studios, but after all of that terrible failure, I find myself hoping that Sony never acquires another studio again.
Get away from her, you bitch!
Yeah, the word is right now that Sony is in discussions to purchase the parent company of From Software, which would give them control over Elden Ring, Dark Souls, Armored Core, and Bloodborne. On the one hand, I think this might be the best shot we have at seeing another Bloodborne game, but on the other hand, my trust in Sony has diminished greatly after we've seen how many resources they pumped into the likes of Concord.
You'll have to excuse my friend. He's a little slow.
In all fairness to them, Sony is still capable of making gems. They are responsible, after all, for Astrobot, which is a sterling game. It was nominated to be Game of the Year, but that feels more like an outlier these days than a good example of what this company consistently produces. Studios under the Sony umbrella have a tendency these days to become obsessed with the identity politics nonsense that we've seen in the likes of The Last of Us 2, Spider-Man 2, or the race swapping that we see in God of War Ragnarok. For every good game like Ghost of Tsushima, it seems like they follow it up with a Ghost of Yotai, pandering to the sewer monsters that inhabit their HR departments because what they lack in creativity, they attempt to make up for with their lack of integrity and scruples. So, I think I can speak for a bunch of us when I say that I hope Sony stays as far away from the Elden Ring as possible, because I just don't trust them these days not to cock it up.
Love me.
No.
Love me.
No, man.
Love me!
Shit, no, man. I believe you get your ass kicked saying something like that, man.
Alright, me hearties, make sure that you hit the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. After Asmongold featured one of my videos on his channel yesterday, I gained a shit ton of new subscribers, so most of you know what time it is. It's time to ask the following question.
How many assholes we got on this ship anyhow?
Yo! We have jumped up all the way to 89,000 space pirate a-holes in our fleet, and the custom on this channel is that with every 1,000 subscribers, we add a new ship in order to house the newcomers, which means that we have to add 4 new ships today. This time, we are going with the Invisible Hand, which was in Star Wars Episode 3. We are also salvaging the North Star from Concord since Sony doesn't really need it anymore. And we've also got one of the World Expo Observatory Tower saucers from Men in Black. And down here, we have the Space Colony Ark from Sonic Adventure. All of these were suggested by you guys. If you have any suggestions for future ships, drop them into the comment section below. Super chats get bumped to the top of the list with other super chats, but in any event, thanks for being here, folks. I really appreciate you.
I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
But anyhow, let's talk about Sony's potential acquisition of From Software, which seems particularly important considering that the Elden Ring might win a second Game of the Year award, since they now permit DLC to be considered for Game of the Year on the Game Awards, and Shadow of the Erd Tree was nominated for Game of the Year. I think that's an asinine decision. DLC should have its own category, but still, this illustrates how important the Elden Ring is to the gaming community. The game is revered, and the fact that the gaming journalists hate it because they aren't good enough to play it makes it even more important to protect. Of course, I would have said something pretty similar about Ghost of Tsushima as well. That game is one of the more important releases from the past few years, so it isn't like Sony is incapable of making anything good. There's clearly talent in their studios. It's just that they seem very susceptible to making shit like Ghost of Yotai, where they subvert our expectations and go with the girl boss just to appease the screeching harpies. And just to be clear, have any of you noticed how those harpies are literally never completely appeased? These people are never satisfied with how much pandering you do for them. They will never stop screeching. They will never stop complaining. So might I humbly recommend that instead these companies should pander to gamers. Stellar Blade is another example of a Sony-published game that kicked ass, but they censored Eve in that game, at least for a little while, and so you just know that there's this constant tension at Sony between the ideologues who don't actually like gaming, but who want to impose their will on the hobby, versus the devs who actually enjoy gaming and who are quite capable of knocking it out of the park if they can just do their work unmolested by the perpetually offended. But let's read about this potential acquisition in this article really quick here. Link in the description. It says, in an exclusive report published today by Reuters, it was claimed that Sony is in talks to purchase Kadokawa, the corporation that owns the majority of From Software, the developer of Elden Ring. It was claimed in the report that Sony wants to acquire the media powerhouse and that a deal could be signed in the coming weeks, despite the claims being corroborated by two trusted sources close to Reuters and the deal. Both Sony and Kadokawa have declined to comment. Now, I'm going to throw this out there. Kadokawa owns more than just From Software. They also own the excellent Octopath Traveler and the Tenchu series. As a massive fan of Tenchu Stealth Assassin, if they could get them to go ahead and pump out another Tenchu game, I would lose my mind with excitement. But I don't know if it's worth the risk. They'd probably replace Rikimaru, the main character from that franchise, with a girl boss whose chin has its own gravitational field, with a half-shaved head, and who's also a lesbian just thrown in there for good measure. Oh, and she wouldn't be Japanese because these people are insufferable in that way. They just can't seem to help themselves. They will do anything to subvert our expectations and deny gamers what they actually want. In this instance, I'd like to see Rikimaru, the classic legendary hero from Tenchu, shown on screen again. But at this point, I, for one, am really hoping that Sony's deal doesn't go through, at least for now. Maybe they'll become sane again someday, but Japanese companies have just started embracing a lot of this DEI stuff, so until they reverse course, I certainly do not want this deal to go through. But I'm going to leave it there. What do you think about it? Should Sony buy the Elden Ring and Dark Souls franchises? Drop your thoughts into the comment section below, and we will talk there.
Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your captain is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.